don't even know how to start. You want to introduce this one?
Hey, sure. Today's episode is taking place on, I don't know what the date is, so we'll fill that in
It,
later. Uh, it doesn't matter. I'm so confused
you're gonna have to
anyway.
start over.
We're gonna have to do this all over again anyway. I don't care. All right, today's episode is The Devil Girl of Mars. From Mars. Wait, Devil Girl from Mars. Let me do that again. Today's episode of Old Ass Movie Reviews is The Devil Girl from Mars. Uh, it's, I think, 1959, if I remember correctly, the date on it. I'm sorry.
It is in the 50s. It is in the 50s.
Probably late
I am
50s.
gonna add. This
Fifty-four,
movie is
1954.
1954. Yeah, this movie is number one out of our four movies for October with a Halloween theme or monsters, aliens. We're doing a thematic month this month, so this is number one out of the gates. And
Nice.
yeah,
Very good.
1954.
1954. It was starring Hugh McDermott, Hazel Court, Peter Reynolds, Adriana Corey, Joseph Tomalty, Sophie Stewart, John Laurie, and Patricia LaFawn as the main villain. I wanted to put everybody's names in there because as I was looking at Amazon, they have a little drop-down menu to look at the actors and actresses. Every one of these actors and actresses had theatrical training. They were all
Mhm.
classically trained actors and actresses. And I found that very interesting. You don't normally see that all the time. It was a play. Before it was a movie, it was a play, and it was written by.
I got to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you go any further, that is one of the things that I wrote. Third note down. This feels like a play.
But it was. It
I
says
could see this on stage.
from the play by John C. Mather and James Eastwood. Screenplay by James Eastwood. Now, I got curious and I looked up James Eastwood. Evidently, he was a fairly successful screenwriter, a successful playwright, and he wrote books. No relation to Clint Eastwood.
Okay,
So I was really depressed
that was
when I
my next
saw that
question.
because he's British and, Eastwood's all American. So
Right.
but yeah, I
So I
was
see.
actually kind of shocked. I was expecting James Eastwood to be like his dad or, something. But around that same time period, as I think Eastwood was making his television debut, I want to say The
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Rifleman. I know that Eastwood showed up in an old cowboy series, 50s, 60s maybe. It was black and white. But yeah, the worst thing, I will say the worst thing about this movie is the title.
Yes.
They totally missed the mark on naming this thing. And I know why they did it. It was the 50s, and they were trying to get little boys into the theater.
I can see how that could work, and that is the biggest problem with this movie. I was not prepared for this
No,
movie.
neither was
I
I.
thought, what kind of shit has David picked out for us today? And
I was hoping it was going to be a lot worse than it really was.
it was
Yeah, it
good.
was
It was good. Now it's not without issues, but the issues I think are just the issues of the
right,
time.
right.
I mean, yes, the effects are horrible,
Really, I thought
but
the effects were really good for the time period.
for the
Yeah,
time,
the robot
that's what I'm
design
saying.
was
For the time,
horrible.
they're really good,
The
huh?
robot design was absolutely horrendously bad.
Thank you.
It was just
Yeah, the robot,
horrible.
a dude in a box.
Push him over, he lands on his back. You just saved the world.
Yes.
Yeah. As long as he's upright, you're doomed. You knock him down, it's like an AT-AT. You take him off his legs, he can't move.
Yeah.
You're welcome for the Star Wars reference. Early, I
Yeah,
got you.
the thing is the effects for the time were actually really
Yeah,
good. It's really hard for us now, 70 years later, to take a look at a
yeah,
movie and see and to critique the effects because compared to today, they're like, oh my God, that's bad.
yeah, yeah.
But can you imagine being a kid seeing that? Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
would have
zap
been
coming out of the
cool.
robot's head when it hits the tree and the tree just glows and
Yes.
then it's just gone.
the smoke. You could tell it was done on a
Yeah,
soundstage.
yeah.
But when I watched this movie, I was like, this is a play. This is a freaking play. This look at the archetypes of the
Uh-huh.
characters that were there: the reporter, the scientist, the felon,
Oh yeah, the con
convicted
man comes out of
murderer.
nowhere, and I'm just like, man, could you be any more bad romance novel writer than this?
Here's the thing that's interesting to me. The alien angle in this movie is actually the B story. I could watch a movie all on these other characters stuck in a bar in Scotland for two
Right.
hours and see what happens with the convict. There's a
Oh
good
yeah,
story
just the
going there.
convict. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So let's add another layer of sci-fi to sell it as a sci-fi movie. It felt like an afterthought.
Yeah. You think so?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I
I'd
don't know if
love
it
to
was
see
or
the
not.
play
Yeah,
just to see what it really was. Like, what was it all with? Did they add the alien for the movie? If
I'm
so,
curious.
why? Why would you do that? But it worked.
But the
It worked.
Naya worked.
Yeah.
It was
She was a nice villain.
there's it was a great villain, but there's something here that just cracked me up. Um, After the War of the Sexes, there was no more war.
Yeah.
Message.
Yeah. Exactly. All men are bad.
We killed all the men, and now there's no war.
But now we have to steal
Wow,
men from
that's
this planet because,
you're gonna take them back. You're gonna have war
yeah,
again.
exactly. But it was interesting if in her conversation with the people, and they talk about the War of the Sexes that got violent and they wiped out almost all of their men. Uh, what was interesting is I think maybe without them even realizing it, they were hinting on cloning. And she was basically saying, our technology isn't enough to keep our species going without men. So we're going to come steal a few of you guys and take you back with us, basically for breeding stock. And
Right.
I'm sitting there thinking, like back in the 50s, that probably would have shocked a couple of guys. But I'm sure there were some guys that were sitting there watching that girl come out of there go, I'll go.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
have to you don't have to do a mind job on me. I'll go with you. You're
See,
wearing
that's
black
what I
leather
was
up
thinking. It's
there.
like she wasn't gonna have to destroy and kill billions as they
Right.
thought. She would have landed in London, said what was going on, and there would have been a
A
frickin'
line
line.
lined up like she'd been, hey, 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 take a number.
I can only take so
Yeah,
many. Yeah, it would have been no problem.
the ship
But
really,
okay.
hey, you guys. It's after World War II. I mean, it's at the 10 years after the war. You got a lot of soldiers with a lot of testosterone still built up in them. She would have been fine. She just crash landed in the middle of freaking Scotch nowhere. You know?
Right. What about the caretaker's husband? He's my favorite character in the
I've seen
movie.
him in a lot of
Jamie, I
different
think
stuff.
is his name.
Good character.
Always looking for a drink. Every chance he gets, he's heading for the
Yeah.
bar. Oh, we can have a drink. Drinks on the house.
And the wife's
I
looking at
loved
him
it.
like, hey, hey, knock it off,
Yeah.
drink in the
There's
house.
there's good. You can drink out of the
Yeah.
tap.
But what I like, I'm going to go back to the very beginning, is the opening scene. The airplane flying, and then all of a sudden it just explodes. I mean, that's a good opening scene.
Yeah.
That's like, holy crap, what just happened? And then you find out that something happened to her ship, and she smashed into the damn plane, and that's what took her
Yeah.
down. Her spaceship.
That's one of the things that made me think it was just weird the way the story was set up that okay her ship is malfunctioned so she lands in the middle of nowhere
Right.
and it's going to take 4 hours to fix so she's there for 4 hours. I'm just going to torment these people in this lodge
Right.
and
I'm just curious, as a play, how would you stage that? Like pretty much the same exact way they had it set up on the film?
yeah, pretty much because it felt like when I was watching it's like man I could almost see this on a
Yeah.
stage. It could almost be on a stage. There'd be a few things that you would have to close the curtains for to show the outside scenes,
Right.
and
Right.
maybe the order it was done would have to be a little different. But um, it it definitely that's why it felt like a
Right.
play, and just it wasn't so much the setup that felt well. I mean, it was the setup that felt like a play to me. It was the characters, it was the dialogue, the fact that there is a deeper story in there that was just as entertaining as aliens showing
Yeah.
up. And how about the model, the famous model instantly falling in love
with the drunk.
with the
Yeah,
reporter.
with the drunk reporter, the guy who's an alcoholic. It's like,
Yeah,
didn't you just leave a guy? Aren't you hiding from a guy who kind of
yeah.
likes
And
you?
didn't you just
Yeah,
meet?
did you guys just meet? I mean, I understand love at first sight, and if that's a movie that you're gonna go with, a movie trope you're gonna go with, I get it. But it didn't. That felt forced. That was probably the most
That
forced
was
part of that entire movie for me. Was that love interest? Like here she is hiding in this Scottish Highlands of middle of nowhere, Scotland. This guy walks, and he's an American. So you Brits already
yeah.
don't like us. You know, they said we got our independence, and they haven't liked us since.
Well, there go. Well, we don't have any
I'm not
British
insulting
listeners.
anybody. I mean, if anybody from Britain sees this, they're going to write us and go, "Yep, you're absolutely right. We freaking hate you." but for her to just fall in love with this guy, and she knows he's got a drinking problem like right away because every time the guy turns around, he's taking a drink out of a bottle, grabbing a drink. The guy's constantly drinking. And
Well, you know what's funny about that, real quick? She mentions about the drinking
yeah,
and everything, and I'm thinking, woman, you're the one who had the portable bar with you with the bottle of brandy. That was hers. Oh, I don't drink.
I
Really?
don't drink, but just in case.
Just in case, I've got all this. I don't like the taste of it. Yeah, but you brought a whole bar
Yeah.
with you.
So we're not judging, lady. We're not judging because I need a stiff drink right now. But yeah, that seemed like the most uh, forced part of it. And in the very beginning, the little kid Tommy, is he playing with
Oh
a
God.
cannon? Has he got a
Yes.
cannon on the table when they're talking
You
like
had a
that?
cannon. He's just playing with his
The cannon
cannon,
looked like it was almost full
like
size,
all boys
man.
did.
Well, a little Scottish kid doesn't have a cannon.
Exactly.
That was brilliant. I saw that and I'm like, I had to rewind it, back it up. I was like, well, is that a cannon?
It was a cannon. He had a cannon.
That's funny.
Later on in the movie, when it gets near the end and they all go hide in the cellar,
Yeah.
it's after the fact that they sent Tommy back to his bedroom, which is
Well,
upstairs. Nobody goes and gets Tommy.
well, they're all talking about, well, who's going to go? Who's going to go? Who's going to go? Not one of them said, you know what? Let Tommy go. We'll save Tommy. We'll all sacrifice. Let Tommy go. Like, at least he'll be alive. Not one of those motherfuckers said that. They were all like, no,
No.
I'll go. Nope, I'll go. I'm going to save my own ass. I'm going to go. It's like, wait a minute. Save the kid. What the hell is wrong with you? You're
No,
supposed to
so
all
they
love
run
this
in the
kid.
cellar to
Just
hide.
save the kid.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm a scientist. I'm going. I'm a writer. I'm
Yeah.
going.
But they run to the cellar to hide because they know she's going to blow them all up.
You're right. Nobody went to go get the kid.
Nobody went to get Tommy. He's upstairs. Nah.
Nobody liked Tommy. He must have been a real bastard.
He must have been a little shit.
That's funny. Well, what was funny is when the spaceship lands, Alien's a malevolent bitch, but she looks good in black leather. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I thought it was the lady who played on Bewitched, the mother, and my mind just went completely blank as I'm trying to bring up her name. Andorra, the character's name was
Endora? But who was that?
I don't know. She was in a lot of. God darn it!
Yeah.
Let me find my Google.
I think, was it Patricia Laffin?
Yeah,
Is
was
who
the main villain. Yeah,
She was great.
she was
I thought
really
she
good.
just brought a nice malevolent level to that role. And it's important to know when you're watching these older movies like this, the way they talk about things, we laugh about it now.
Right,
But back in the 50s, some of that stuff is it just carries more weight.
Agnes Moorehead.
Um,
She
yes.
looked like Agnes Moorehead in that. Like I was looking at her, but you're right. It does like some of that stuff carries a little bit more weight now.
you have to remember we hadn't even been to the moon
Right.
yet. So it's like, who knows what people, I mean, green men and stuff like
Hmm.
that on Mars, but that's things looked much different. And now we're like, no, that's not how it would
Right.
be. So it's kind of fun to go back and look at those. But again, like with anything, you have to look at it from the
Yeah, you
time
have to look
that
at
it's
it at the
made.
point that it was made or the point that it's coming from, you know? So yeah, the design of the spaceship I thought was really cool.
It was pretty
Eats up
cool.
very much with later descriptions of people that have seen UFOs or claim to have seen UFOs, and you know, the shape and the
Well, even
design.
earlier descriptions.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that actually had when we were really invaded back in the 30s by the Martians. Remember hearing about that? No? Orson Welles said he
No,
could do it.
because they mind wiped
Oh,
everybody
that's
and we
right.
didn't hear it. Right. um, yeah, the robot, that was one of my notes. That was really bad, but that probably looked really cool to somebody watching that
Oh yeah,
there.
as you know, a 10, 12-year-old kid at the theater at that point. Oh my God, look at that robot. That's like, Darth Vader right
How
there.
many went home and looked for a big box so they could make a robot? I mean, seriously, I would have.
Well, yeah, exactly. As a kid, you would put a little fishbowl, glue a fishbowl, tape it down on top. You got yourself a
Yes.
big giant robot.
I may make one
Yeah,
now.
right? Its arms didn't move. I'm going like this.
No,
I'm
they
moving its
didn't.
arms up and down, but the thing's arms didn't even move. The guy probably couldn't even see coming out, walking down there.
Oh, probably not.
Like Charlie, whatever you do, don't.
Charlie.
Yeah, the ship's name was the big robot's name was Charlie, right? Or Chani?
Yes,
I
it
thought it
was
was Charlie.
Charlie.
It's like you
It was
named
Charlie.
the big giant robot killing death machine Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Well,
Means something
they
to us.
questioned. Well, they questioned her on when she started speaking. And like, you speak English. And so what else would I speak? That's your
Right,
language. I speak them all. So it instantly set up right then that she chose a
right.
language that they would all know, which brings me to
It
another
was a nice
point
piece.
of this.
It was.
The inside of the ship.
There was no filler.
That was the frickin' TARDIS.
Oh yeah, that was a definite TARDIS design, wasn't it? I didn't pick
It
up on that
was.
until you just said it, but yeah, yeah.
I saw that and it's like, it even had a universal
And the
translator.
eye of what is that? What is the big guy's name that they're always talking about? For the start, the TARDIS is powered by the eye of something.
I'm drawing a
I don't
blank.
know. Every Whovian is going to be mad at me now because I don't remember, and I'm a huge.
But
I don't remember it either.
I got a very TARDIS vibe
Yeah,
from
yeah. I
looking at
didn't. You
that.
know what?
It's like,
I'm sitting there looking at it, thinking, "Wow, that's kind of a neat design." Didn't dawn on me why, but now I know. Yeah, because it's a TARDIS design. I want to know
yep.
why their Igor guy, whatever the character's name was, why did he go out to that ship? The thing is white hot, and he's just
He
like,
wasn't
la la
very
la
bright.
la la, I'm gonna limp my way over to this ship. And then then he trips for no apparent reason. I didn't see anything him tripping on, but he trips and falls down, and she just disintegrates him because you're unworthy.
But she said he wasn't a good
Yeah, she's
specimen.
not a good specimen. Zap. Holy crap! There goes like half of the Scottish Highland male population. You're all gonna get zapped.
Oh.
But that was just mean of her. I mean, uh, and I'm still trying to figure out why Doris was in a trance in the bar when that lady didn't look at her or wasn't anywhere near her. That kind of threw me. Like I knew it was because of the lady or the alien Naya, but I didn't know why. Like she was nowhere near her at that point.
Yeah.
Do you have an explanation?
Yeah, that was a weird one. No, when it just threw me off because I was at Starbucks this morning and the barista's name was Naya and I almost asked if she was from Mars. And it's like she won't understand what I'm
And you're
asking.
laughing your ass off, and she's just crying. This man's
Yeah.
making fun of me.
Are you a devil
Are you
girl?
a devil girl from Mars? Huh?
I still wanted to, and then I knew it wouldn't work.
How about the scientist? How about the main scientist guy? Was that guy not like the
Oh my
stupidest
God.
guy in the world? That's not somebody you want trying to save the world.
No.
It's like, just shut up and go away. I believe what my
He
eyes
was
see. You see the big spaceship landed in his backyard, right? I don't believe it. What?
oh he was annoying. He was really annoying.
Oh my God, he was horrible. What a horrible character. He's like,
And that's why to me it felt like every play I've seen, every play I've been in, you have all these characters that are so unique.
right, right.
This could have been a murder mystery inside the
Yeah,
hotel,
yeah.
and that's actually how it felt it was going to be.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. It was definitely an Agatha Christie feel. Like who's the who
Yes,
done it?
that's what it was felt like. Because hey, we introduced the convict,
Hmm.
the murderer.
Now, see, I could see how they could have worked that in. How they could have had a murder or a death, and you didn't know about the alien yet. Like the devil girl
Yeah,
Naya was actually coming in speaking in a Scottish accent because she's, in Scotland. She can speak an accent now. So it's like not know who killed the hunchback guy or whatever the hell he was, the guy who, and then not know the spaceship was there. That could have very easily worked out as a whodunit kind of thing. Very easy. But
yes.
you know what? We just rewrote the story. We just made it better.
I want to find the play.
Yeah,
I want to find the play, and I'm going to have to give that a read because that's what it felt like, and that critique is not a negative to me. It just felt odd.
yeah,
It made the sci-fi bend feel off.
yeah. A little
It
forced.
felt like almost an afterthought and an unnecessary one at that. Like we have two movies, and we're in the 50s. This is when there's the sci-fi movies, the aliens, all of this stuff is going on. So we've got
The
to
big
work
one
aliens and
eye, the
Martians in.
tentacles, or the chick in the black
Exactly.
leather. It was going to be one of
Yeah.
them. It was going to be a big ugly monster, or it was going to be a chick in black leather.
Yeah. And it worked. It worked.
She was actually a really good villain. I mean, when she comes out of that door, I got the Darth Vader vibe, man. When she
Oh
comes
yeah,
stepping down that thing, and I was like,
dude.
holy crap, that's a Darth Vader. That's a female version of Darth Vader, only without all the
It
stormtroopers.
was.
That was the first thing I
It
thought of.
was.
I was like,
Wow.
this chick's gonna be bad, and she was kind of mean. She was just mad. You know what it was? She was a union worker working on the weekend. She didn't want to be there. She's just like, you know what? I don't get paid for Saturdays, man.
Right.
I'm gonna kill this guy. Okay, you're dead. I'm gonna mind wipe this guy. What else have I got to do today? Jeez, I ticked off two things on my list. I don't
I'm
want
gonna
to.
go invade Earth.
Yeah, I don't even want to be on Earth today. Okay, Dante Dix, get on home.
Yeah. As far as the ending goes, I would have rather seen Albert say, "Screw you guys, I'm going to
Right,
Mars."
right.
I was hoping for
That's
that.
what I was hoping for too. I was like, okay, there's no reason to kill her now. She got her guy.
She got her guy.
He's
She's
already
still going to London. She's going to get more.
he's already made the ultimate sacrifice. He saved everybody in the thing.
Yeah.
Unless she was getting ready to push the button, he was like, yeah, okay, I got to kill you now. But I
Yeah.
don't think she ever had any intention of killing everybody. There was no reason.
I
She's
didn't get
already
that impression.
basically pointed out, look, you can't hurt me. You can't do anything to me. Hell, I'm surprised the spaceship blew up. What did she do? Like
Yeah.
turn her head?
She must have. It must have.
Totally ignored the guy.
And what is it with spacecraft designers putting in these little inherent fatal flaws in their design? Like a certain Death
Yeah,
Star.
whatever you do, don't push this red button. It'll blow up the ship.
It's there, right
What
there.
I really have a hard time with is the scientist figured out how to blow up the ship. This guy couldn't figure out how to zip up his own pants. He didn't even believe the ship existed until he went on it. And even then he had questions. It's like,
Right.
dude, You're talking to an alien. You saw the ship land. You were inside the ship. You saw the giant robot. You know the Scottish military doesn't have that kind of freaking firepower. Come on, man. You
Right.
guys are still wearing kilts. Get a move on.
Yeah. You know,
Scottish
and
people
this
give
can
you
go
credit, man.
all the way to the beginning when he's in the scientist and the reporter in a car, and the scientist is looking at a map, and the guy next to him, the reporter, says, "You can read star charts, but you can't even read a
Right,
map."
right.
So
Lost.
this is the guy that figures all this out.
Yeah. This guy, there's no way he could have figured out how to destroy that ship. The little kid could have figured it out before
Yeah.
that scientist could have figured it out. Yeah, and that boils down to one of my notes here. This house is not filled with intellectual geniuses. Not one of them.
No.
The bartender chick, um, I forgot her name.
Doris.
Doris. That's it. Doris was like the smartest one in the whole group. She really was. When you boil it right down to it, the
Yeah.
was the smartest one in the room. And why they didn't have her have a bigger part, I don't know. Other than her being there just for the killer to show up and say I love you and have her cry at the end. I don't know. I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah. That
Her
was.
part seemed like it should have been bigger for
Yeah.
me. Oh,
It's a good one though.
I want to talk.
All in all,
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the technical stuff that they did too in this movie.
sure.
The way they filmed Patricia LaFawn, who played Naya, the villain, always a slight upshot. There's always an up angle at her, and it was hard lighting. Unlike usually what you and I have discussed in a couple other shows, where they kind of soften the
Hmm.
woman's face and features to make her look more beautiful. They
Right.
did hard light on her, shot her from a slight up angle, and made her look a lot longer and taller and a lot more malevolent with the hard lighting on
Yes.
her. And I thought that was whoever their cinematographer was and their lighting
Hmm.
guy, they really sat down and thought about this movie. Like I said, I
Well, that was.
honestly think the worst thing about this movie is the name, The Devil Girl from
Yes.
Mars. That
I'll agree
they
with
should
that.
have like if they would have just called it Invader from Mars or the incident in Scotland or something like that. I think it would have worked better. Special
Yeah.
effects,
With the.
I thought they were fine. Um, like you
Right.
said, for the day. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. With the lighting, back on that's a great point, and I mean that's used a lot to as you're seeing to show some malevolence or some evil,
Right.
and they made her look really tall. I don't know exactly how tall she
Right.
was. I didn't look it up, but she looked very tall, and I know a lot of that is done. I mean, if you can make Tom Hanks look above 5 foot,
Right.
not Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise
Yeah,
look above 5 foot tall, then it's magic.
right.
Uh,
Well, I think part of it was
so
her costume too, because she had leggings on, but she had like a mini skirt, so that made her legs look a lot longer too. I think,
there was a lot of thought to
yeah,
that.
that whole costume, they did a lot of thinking to that costume.
Yeah, and it worked.
Hmm.
It really did work, and I didn't catch that, but you're right. They did shoot her more at an upward angle to make everybody feel a little
Right.
smaller, a little shorter.
And she was always on those
Uh,
two steps, like the
yeah,
steps coming into the bar that go like one or two steps down. She was always standing on the top, so they were always forced to look up at her. She was always talking from a point of power.
I'll be
And
damned.
when they were down in the field, they were a little bit lower, and she was up on a hillock, always looking down on them. That had to be a director's
It
idea.
was. It
It
had to
had to
be.
be him going, you know what? This woman is always in control. She's always in power. She's always got to be up looking down on like they're just sheep. They're cattle for the slaughter. That's how I took that. And I was like, my God, that's even for such a low budget B flick. That was a lot of thinking going into the shooting of this thing, and I really appreciated that. Like I could watch this one
Well,
again for sure.
that's one of the things about this. It's
Uh
cheesy
huh.
only because it's 2020. Geez, I don't even know what year it is anymore. But even because this movie's old, it feels cheesy to
Right.
us, and that's what's like. As a kid watching this, I would have been blown
Oh
away. It's like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
this is cool. It would be almost scary. It'd
Mhm.
be intense and very well done. I went into this expecting to hate it,
Mhm.
but because of the acting, which was all well done
Yeah,
as
I was
well,
shocked on
the
how good the
lighting, the
acting was in this.
direction, yes, it. I wasn't ready for this. I thought, oh my god, yeah, like I said earlier, what have you done? Devil Girl from Mars? Are you
Well,
kidding
I
me?
literally picked it because of the name, and I thought, oh, this has got to be the cheesiest movie. I'm looking for cheese. This is going to be cheese with cream cheese topping sprinkled with Parmesan. It's going to be cheesy, and it actually was a pretty damn good movie. I enjoyed it. There was a bit of dialogue. My bet, I don't know if you have a favorite piece of dialogue, but I picked one out.
I do.
There's a line where Naya is just blown up the barn. The convict has saved the little boy, and they've looked in the distance and they see like where everybody's at. And the convict's like, "Stay down on the ground, stay down on the ground." And Naya walks up and says, "Get up off the ground." And she's standing once again above them. They're
Right.
looking up at her, and the little boy looks at her and says, "Gee, you're just like the black spider. Danger's always having trouble with her." And Naya looks at him and goes, "You speak in riddles." Like this kid's talking about a comic book or a pulp
Yes.
magazine that he's read, and she has no concept of what he's talking about. She's like, "You speak in riddles." And she does, there's no move on her face. And I just started laughing so loud because I was like, that's a bit of humor that they haven't had really in this movie. And it was such a natural bit of humor. What's yours? Bars
Well,
open?
it's the part where the reporter is on the phone after the flying saucer lands,
Uh-huh.
and he's got the phone. Hello, 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 operator. Hello, hello, police. Flying saucer. Escape convict. Hello, 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 hello. And he's doing it that fast. Hello, hello, hello. And like, dude, what are you doing? Hello, hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
flying saucer, escape convict.
It's just throwing a string of words
He
together. It
moves.
was so comical.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
and that's one of my notes. The dialogue is good and it's bad. There's some things that are just like, that wasn't so great, but others it's like, this is well written.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Especially
really
for
is,
the
and the
day.
actors really. What's that?
Especially for the day. It was very well.
For the
Yeah,
day,
very well written for
absolutely.
the day.
Yeah. They really. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I just thought it was interesting that you have your central location,
Uh huh.
the
Right.
lodge. And just everybody, something happens. The reporter and the scientist get lost, and
Mm-hmm.
the escaped convict ends up. Oh, that was a great bit of dialogue right there when Doris is telling the innkeeper that this guy was a hiker and he didn't have his wallet because he looked in a creek and saw a fish. And I'm thinking, oh, the fish stole his wallet. But
The damn fish stole me wallet again. The magic fish is gonna give me three wishes. Why am I speaking with an
them
Irish accent?
Scottish
I don't
fish,
know. I'm in Scotland.
the
What the
fish
hell?
gave him the fish with the
Yeah,
wishes.
the
Yes.
fish with the wishes. The fish wish. Uh, did, did you catch that Naya can dimensional shift? She could
Yes.
teleport herself. I thought that was brilliant. For 1954, I had never seen that in any movie that I've watched.
No, that was actually really
That
cool.
was a really done piece because the guy's like, she's getting blurry. What? And then she's just like, you guys have no concept of my power.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a feeling that ship didn't actually get blown up. It dimensional shifted, and then the convict probably got thrown out of the spaceship later on.
Yeah, because somebody that powerful and had
That's
had
smart.
seen everything coming,
Yeah. You ain't
and
having
we're
this guy,
expecting.
bat his eyes at you, his baby blues, and you're gonna just fall to pieces. No,
Yeah, she don't care
no,
about that.
she does. She really didn't. She didn't give two craps about any of that.
She was Darth Vader.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when she came down that thing, I was like, holy crap, that's a Darth Vader move there. There was lots of smooching in this movie for a
Yeah,
sci-fi action, whatever it was, semi-action. Um,
yeah.
everybody was trying to smooch each other. which I thought was
That's
very
it.
funny because they always started trying to kiss at like the most awkward, worst times. You know, like, gee, I'm gonna blow up the entire planet. Let's smooch. No, let's try and get the hell out of here. We'll smooch later.
Exactly. No, well done, though. Well
Oh,
done.
and I've already mentioned this. Give him the kid, morons. It was the whole like, who's gonna go? Well, I should go. I'm the scientist. You're a dipshit. No, you no scientist guy. Just go sit down.
Yeah, they didn't care about little Tommy
Not at all.
at all, except when he was gone.
Right. And then they're like, "Where's Tommy? Oh, he's upstairs. Let's get in the basement." Evidently, I was reading through my notes real quick. Evidently, if you went with the Devil Woman from Mars, Naya, you had to go of your own free will. And we
Yeah,
kind of
that was
talked about
interesting.
that. Like if she'd have landed in the middle of London, told them their plight, like, "Hey, we got no men, and most of the women look like me," there would have been a line 500 miles, like just around
Yeah,
Buckingham Palace. They'd have just been waiting in line, going, "I'll go, I'll go." Did you see her? Yeah. You know?
and that's what made it hard to understand why was this a threat because she would have had plenty of willing
Right.
participants.
But no, she crash lands out in the middle of the Scottish Highlands where the she finds the one hotel filled with the stupidest people in the British Empire all in one spot. It made her job difficult. And that's why I think she was a union worker because she's like, I don't. Oh my God, this should have been like a quick run. I should have been in and out of here already. The explosion at the end I thought was kind of cool how they did that. You know,
Yeah,
it was like a down shot. I'm guessing it was a down shot on some kind of chemical in the water, or like maybe a tank of water or something that they dropped something in to blow up towards the camera, which
yeah,
was I thought was a really cool concept. I
it
liked how they did
was.
that.
Um,
I was trying to figure out exactly
they
what
did
they
some.
did because I watched that like two or three times. I was like, no, it's got to be something really simple, but it was really effective. They did a really good job on
Well, that's one of the things they did some neat
it.
camera
Yeah,
tricks to pull it off. Her dimensional shifting, even all the way down to the robot's lasers and the
yeah,
disintegrating, and all of that stuff right now is so easy to do, but they did this using film,
yeah.
no computers,
Hand animated because
and
the glow had to be hand animated because you didn't have.
yeah, all of that had to be
Yeah,
drawn and painted onto the film, and that's pretty impressive.
yeah, and it was a good movie. The story really wasn't awful. Like if they were gonna
No,
redo it, you definitely have to rename the damn movie. Because like I said in the beginning, the worst thing about this movie is the title.
yes, the
It
title doesn't
was
fit.
actually a pretty good movie. It's dated. It's dated. I'll give you that. But it still worked on a lot of levels for me. I thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was entertaining. I like the main character. She plays pretty BA. I mean, you don't want to disagree with her in front of her subordinates because she'll kill you. She will be a Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Now she may not have the Force, but she got that laser gun, and she's not afraid to use it, man. She's not afraid to shoot somebody.
No, not at all. Using Charlie
Charlie. Ah,
with the remote.
Yeah.
Charlie had a
Yeah.
clicker.
Which was very high tech back in 1954.
It
And those
was.
three
It
prongs
was.
coming out of the clicker, I'm not sure what they did, but she seemed really upset when that guy took it from her. Is all I'm
But
saying.
then she just kind of looked at him and reached over and
It's
grabbed
like,
it.
give me that. Man, you don't know how to use this. I'll show you how to use this later when we go back to Mars. I'll show you what the three prongs.
Well, they had to get the story of the alien probes somehow.
Thank goodness you're not a gray. I hate those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I Nobody ever talks about
Okay,
a leather-clad woman coming and abducting them. It's always these gray, skinny, big-headed
right? It's
suckers.
like, did you guys ever see this movie? Next time you come to invade me, come like that. Hold up a
Yeah.
picture of Patricia LaFont. Come like this woman. Don't come like you are now. Don't get genetically manipulated or whatever it is you people do.
Right.
Oh, sorry. I took this.
So I give it a definite watch.
Yeah, yeah. I would.
Movie really surprised me. I really, like I said, I'm going to say it again. I thought I was in for a real shit fest, and it was good.
You're
It
welcome.
was good, except the title. You what?
Said you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for giving me a good. I just knew it was going to suck.
Oh,
It's like, oh my god, here we go
so
again.
did I. I was actually
And
kind of depressed that it wasn't horrible. Because I was
yeah,
really
I
looking
can
forward to
see
watching
that.
a really bad schlocky movie. And it wasn't. It was actually pretty good. It was well written, well directed. The cinematography looked good. Like you said, it
Yeah,
was staged like a play. Yeah,
it
it was
was.
good.
It was thoroughly enjoyable. Absolute good watch.
Yeah, I liked it. Um, so on that note, I think we need to remind anybody who's actually listening. Hey, if you folks in France are listening to this on the podcast or watching us on YouTube, how did you find us? I'm
Yeah, drop us a
I'm
line.
completely interested in this. Like we have more listeners in France than we do in America, and I find that astounding. I think it's great. I don't want you to stop listening. Please keep listening.
Yeah, please don't. Please keep
Because I
listening.
hope you like what you're hearing and like what you're seeing. And I don't know if you're American expatriates or if you're French that just went, these guys are dopey and I want to listen to them. Or I'm just interested. Just drop a line. Do we have comments initiated on YouTube or?
YouTube comments can be done at Old Ass Movie Reviews on YouTube. You can also email us at oamoviereviews@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at OAMR. Instagram, we have an Instagram TV channel. Just look up Old Ass Movie Reviews on there, and you can leave comments. Also, leave us a review on Apple iTunes, and looks like we're most listened on Deezer right now.
Oh, cool.
So, uh, leave some reviews there. Just, I'm curious, like Dave, how did you find us?
Yeah, I'm just
And what
interested.
do you like? Any suggestions? Any recommendations? Anything like that? Hit us up, and maybe we'll review something that we haven't seen that you wanna hear us
Yeah,
talk
if you
about.
know of a really bad movie that's set before the 90s, because we're trying to keep this in the 80s and anything before. So if you see a bad
80s
movie
and
and you're
before.
like, oh man, this was a horrible movie. What do you guys think? Maybe we'll be able to check it out, and if we can find it, we'll check it out maybe. And,
Yeah.
and if it's really bad, we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
So next week we're going to continue with our Halloween theme with the 80s flick Chopping Mall.
That sounds like a
So
classic. I remember vaguely that being released.
yes, robot security in a shopping mall gone wild.
Can't beat that. You just can't beat it. That
More robots.
teenage kids hanging out in the mall when after hours. They probably deserved everything they get.
They always do. They always do. So
Somebody's gonna trip.
thanks
Somebody's gonna
for.
trip and fall. Somebody always trips and falls in the '80s horror movies. I have high heels on. Why do
Always.
you have high heels on? We're running through the woods.
And that's what happened to the man from the lodge in the movie. He broke a heel and fell in front of Naya, and she disintegrated him.
You know
That's
what?
what it was.
You're probably right. He was wearing his pumps, his FB pumps, and just fell down.
Yeah,
He was a
it
cross-dresser and
happens.
nobody knew it.
That's the sequel I want to
Yes,
see.
that's the sequel I want to see. Now you're coming back and looking for the rest of the cross-dressers in Scotland.
Wow.
I don't know. No, but this is very
On that
fun. I
note,
thoroughly enjoyed this review today.
Be sure to tune in next week for our review of Chopping Mall.